when I was little, I remember looking out of the window in a council flat and saying, is there a world out there for someone like me? So if I were to turn around and look at that young self, I would say, yes, there is. I used to be the 6-year-old girl. We moved to London after I was born in Batley Spen. I was about 3 to 4 years old. We moved to London, and the thing that my family was very strong on was we had a small family, but it was a loved family. My mum and dad showed me and my brother a lot of love. And my sister, who was born 11 years later, she's a completely different story because she all of a sudden popped out of nowhere. It's not 2 now, it's 3. And one of the things was that my mum and dad showed us so much love as children, and we might have not been very rich at that time, but my mum and dad worked so hard to provide for us. But one of the things that they always said to us was, and it was a bit boring back then, because when you're little you don't quite understand the meaning of the things that your parents tell you.
No.
And I would squabble with my siblings, or I would argue with someone, and I feel down and low about it, and the default position that my mum would always come back with is just be kind. And I would get so frustrated and say, why does she always hammer this comment to me, just be kind? That's boring. You know, why doesn't she just go and tell me to hit back and fight back? But she never brought us up that way, and now it makes total sense. When I am in this position, wherever I go, I always use that line, that people just need to be kind. All political parties want the best for their population. That's a common goal. Every party will sell you the fact that they can do it better than the other.
Of course.
Yes, that's how politics works. And it's just so happens that I like my party. I actually think that the Labour Party is the best for this city, and I will always fly the flag for them.
Of course.
If you weren't doing politics and being the doctor that you are as well, what would Shabina be?
I would be a lady of leisure. Honestly, I would be a lady of leisure. I tell you, I have a family as well. And if I didn't want this job, I would most certainly live a beautiful, comfortable life. My husband's a surgeon. He earns well, but I just love public service. I love talking to people. I love mixing with people. I'm social by nature. So this is what wakes me and gets me out of bed, wakes me up in the morning and gets me out of bed. The fact that I've got a whole day full of speaking to people, and today, your lovely self. That's what drives me. So in answer to your question, if I wasn't, yes, I'd be sitting by some river in a restaurant, enjoying my life, playing tennis with the school mums sometimes, you know, and having little coffee parties. But actually, I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing, and I admire those mums that actually look after their children and can go out and socialise. Why shouldn't they? It's a great thing. But my life choice has been to come away from looking after my social needs
to look
after the others.
Hello, welcome to
Conversation on the Car
with
Rachel and Tebby.
And
we have a special guests.
We are very honored to have a very special guest with us today, and that's none other than the leader of the Peterborough City Council.
Drum roll.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr Shabina Qayyum.
Yes.
Have I done your name justice?
It's all right. So that just goes to show we did the run through and it didn't quite work. That's fine.
It's an honor to have you.
It's an honor to be here.
We are honored to have you with us on Conversations on the Couch today. Do us the justice. Tell us who is Councillor Shabina.
Oh,
yes,
who
please.
is? Oh my goodness, there are so many secrets. So, Dr. Shabina, who is Dr. Shabina? So first of all, I am the mother. So I'm going to talk in order of importance.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Because everything I do in this role is based on the values that I hold. So I'm a mother to 4 absolutely beautiful children.
Oh, bless.
And a wife to the most wonderfully supportive husband. Oh my goodness, yeah,
I
but
can imagine. No,
I
that's
was going to
it.
say hold the because we fight as well. That's normal.
Yeah.
It's important and healthy to fight with your husband.
I know,
and
of
your
course,
spouse.
of
You've got to
course.
fight.
Yeah.
I like those fights
Yeah.
sometimes. Those are,
It's
you
called
know,
healthy marriage.
yeah, absolutely. There's arguments sometimes,
Of course.
you know.
Yeah.
Actually, no physically fighting, but actually
Yeah.
those healthy arguments.
Of course.
It's great, but he's so supportive and he's lovely, and that's why I'm
bless him.
here.
Yeah.
And I'm also the counsellor for East Ward in Peterborough.
Wow.
That's where my heart and soul is, and that's what actually got me elected and into politics. And then I'm the leader for Peterborough City Council. So if you put the values of being a mother or wife, you show that you have lived experience of having understanding how important relationships are.
Of course.
But outside all of this, I'm also a GP who works in a practice in Peterborough, in a surgery, in the heart of the city, where we see people from various backgrounds. It's beautiful. I still do that job 2 mornings a week.
Oh.
And it keeps me grounded. It keeps me in touch with people rather than being a leader who sits in a glass house
Yeah.
and looks out on the city. No, I want to be somebody who lives and breathes amongst people. I love people and I love this city. So all of those values intertwined actually bring a lot to my leadership role. And it's something that I really hold close to my heart. So that's who I am. And I originally started off by, I was born up north in a little town called Batley Spen, which is where the late Jo Cox, who was an MP, who was very sadly was murdered. And I came from that town, and actually she's an inspiration to me as a woman in politics, but as somebody who was so kind, and her more in common speech that actually, which was so wonderful, where she said that she thought that, you know, we have more in common than that which divides us. And that's really important nowadays, when we have so much division and polarization. And bringing together of communities is so important. So that's a fabric. That's the fabric with which I was brought up, to love and respect people. So I believe hugely in that. And also the fact that I want to inculcate those values into parts of our city. So sitting here right now is incredibly empowering for me, because we are women that know kindness, that are happy and want to tie people together. And you've thought about me, which I'm incredibly humbled by. I don't think of myself as being anything great, but the fact that you've called me here means a lot to me. And actually, it's incredibly important that we just, again, our default position should be go back to the values of kindness and compassion. So thank you for your kindness. It is wonderful.
And going back, you've touched a little bit on your journey so far and what's led you into politics, why you're where you are at the moment. We cannot oversee the fact that you are the first female leader of the council after 26 years.
26 years. Wow. That's a great milestone.
Correct. That's true. And actually, first ethnic minority female leader ever in the history of Peterborough City Council. And the reason why I don't say that from a place of being pompous, I say that from a place of humility, because exactly following on, Rachel, with what you have said about people from ethnic minorities having a look at me and saying, you know, I can do that. I used to be the 6-year-old girl. We moved to London after I was born in Batley Spen. I was about 3 to 4 years old. We moved to London, and the thing that my family was very strong on was we had a small family, but it was a loved family. My mum and dad showed me and my brother a lot of love. And my sister, who was born 11 years later, she's a completely different story, because she all of a sudden popped out of nowhere. It's not 2 now, it's 3. And one of the things was that my mum and dad showed us so much love as children, and we might have not been very rich at that time, but my mum and dad worked so hard to provide for us. But one of the things that they always said to us was, and it was a bit boring back then, because when you're little, you don't quite understand the meaning of the things that your parents tell you.
No.
And I would squabble with my siblings, or I would argue with someone. I feel down and low about it. And the default position that my mum would always come back with is just be kind. And I would get so frustrated and say, why does she always hammer this comment to me, just be kind? That's boring. You know, why doesn't she just go and tell me to hit back and fight back? But she never brought us up that way. And now it makes total sense. When I am in this position, wherever I go, I always use that line, that people just need to be kind and by default just need to resort back to that position. And through that, through living through hard times, but using that as a firm foundation, that I knew that whatever happened in life, I had a home in which I was going to be loved, in which I was going to be valued, in which my parents had brought me up and said the opportunities are endless. You just have to work hard. But my goodness, what I wasn't prepared for was the working hard bit and a lot of the challenges that we face as ethnic minority individuals and more so women. So yes, I've had my fair share of trials and tribulations. Obviously, I'm going to be open and honest. I faced a lot of racism whilst growing up. And my mum in the 80s used to hold mine and my brother's hand and walk us to school. And I can remember that it was snowing. We were very cold. I felt cold walking to school. I can even remember the soles of my feet feeling so cold. But she held our hands and she walked us to school. And there was a group of young lads who attacked her with ice balls. And she just walked on. She didn't say anything. And I can remember feeling so frightened. And that image lived with me forever. That was my first encounter of racism.
As a young child.
As a young child. And then understanding that actually I'm different. That was my first realization that I'm different. And then you understand as you grow up the subtleties around racism and how people treat you, the body language.
And how it goes unchecked.
And how it goes unchecked and how sometimes it isn't noted. And then coming into politics and seeing how various politicians and factions speak to you in a certain way and how you have to challenge the status quo and not really fight for your position to be here, but rather establish the fact that at the end of the day, if you are hardworking and dedicated and you build your relationships with your residents, they are going to be your validators. They will vouch for you. So I often, to a lot of my colleagues, say you don't necessarily need your colleagues to validate you or to say to you that you are worthy. If you work hard enough and actually build up your relationships with your residents, those are the people that are going to vouch for you and be your witnesses in times of adversity because they will stand up for you. And I enjoyed that being a councillor for Eastwood because the first time I won was by a 200 majority. The second time I won, it was 1,000 majority. And it was built on the basis of the fact that those relationships with those people who believed in me. And the second time I became more nervous. So I wasn't exactly going out and celebrating and saying, I've won, it's great, I've got a huge majority. I actually took 2 steps back and thought, my goodness, there are 1,000 more people here now that believe in me, that have an expectation towards me, and I have to fulfill those responsibilities.
Do you sometimes feel like you're under too much pressure because people now, obviously you're a person of color. Steve Barrett normally calls it the imposter syndrome, where you sit back and you really think, do I truly deserve this? And does that in any way influence how you act? Does that shape your opinions, or does that put you on pressure or under pressure in any way to serve your community?
It's always important to understand that we have limitations to how much we can deliver when we are politicians. Indeed, I'm sort of no adverse, I'm no stranger to adversity, or I'm no stranger to dealing with stressful situations in my own job as a doctor. However, it is very important to acknowledge the fact that in public service, especially, you always constantly feel under pressure to deliver. And yes, you do, because we are only human. And it's important to understand that sometimes it gets difficult when somebody comes to you with a certain issue that you look at, and you may try by trying to signpost to officers or to departments, and for a valid reason that can't be done. And part of you thinks, oh God, I might be letting down this resident because they came to me with a certain expectation. But I've often found in around 80 to 85% of cases, when you sit down and talk to people as to the reasons why, they normally come round to the fact that you've tried for them.
You've shown initiative.
Yes, you've shown the initiative, you've listened to them, you've opened doors, and people are usually quite content with that. There's only a very small minority that get upset about it. But I think communication is key. And you're only an effective ward counsellor. If I wasn't busy at all and wasn't having casework, then there's something fundamentally wrong with me. So if my inbox is full of casework, that means that actually people know that
you're there and you're reachable.
And I'm accessible.
Of course.
Actually, since becoming leader, I would like to say that I've all of a sudden been unwittingly been, I think, awarded with the accolade of patron saint of casework throughout the city now.
Oh, bless you.
Everybody thinks they can send their problems. And I do try. I include the counsellors into those emails. And if it's sometimes a really easy thing to resolve, the time that you spend in saying to a resident, can you go back to your counsellors? You can write to the officers and say, do you mind looking into this? It's about utilising your time effectively as well.
And I'll say thank you for that, because being accessible is very important. I remember the day we approached her, and I'm like, I was expecting like a long date. Immediately you gave us audience and we are here today. So which shows one of the great attributes of a great leader, because you being accessible to your people, your community is a thing.
It's important.
And
I've got a shelf life, and one day, you know what? The battery's going to run out.
I know.
And I'm going to it's time to rest now.
I know,
so I'm certainly not one of those people that want to hog these positions, stay in it forever, and say, no, I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to be leader. That's all I want to do. No, not at all. I actually want to pave the path or way for somebody to take this position up. It's so important that we develop the next generation of leaders as well. So any of those youngsters who are out there, if you want to come on board and shadow me, it'd be great.
So it's been a few weeks in office. How is it?
It is incredibly busy. I have lots of organisations who have expressed an interest in wanting to meet me. My diary over the last 3 weeks has been absolutely packed. I started this morning at 7:00 attending a civic breakfast, which was wonderful, by the way. And it was so kind. I did say to the organisers that it's the first time I've ever been to a breakfast outside my own home this early. However, what I am going to say is that I'm going to break that rule, because in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to be meeting the staff, the wonderful staff who keep our streets clean. And my first scheduled appointment is at 6:45, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Not 6:45, 6 a.m. So yes, that will break the record of today. So it's been very busy. And I've met lots of wonderful people across our city. And I've loved those audiences as well, speaking to people, understanding what really matters to them, and also how lots of them have offered support to the council too, and also asked about how we can support them. So there are many ways in which councils can support organisations, not just through funding, but actually through promoting some of the services if they're holding events in the city centre.
Presence as well, because recently you've obviously graced most of the Black History Month. You've been at those events. I've seen you there. What other community initiatives have you been part of?
So one of the things that I would like to say is I'm very big on health anyway. It's a forte of mine. It's what I naturally know. So good health for me is very important. And actually in that, it's so important to signpost people to the services that we do have. So we've got, for example, our health weight management services, our stop smoking services, our smoking cessation services. They're completely free of cost. We are blessed with an NHS in this country where you can get a range of services. You know, our mental health services, there's a great website known as keepyourhead.com. All you've got to do is Google Keep Your Head Peterborough, and it will come up with that website. And that is a host of all the organizations within our region that offer support and help for mental health issues, not just mental health issues, but those people who are suffering a bereavement, for example, who would have lost a loved one. Those people who are suffering from cancer, for example, people who have dementia, people who have learning difficulties, teenagers who are being bullied. There is a whole resource of information on the Keep Your Head website. As well as that, we've also got a Peterborough Information Network, which signposts people to advice and help around financial matters too, around if they want to access adult social care, what they need to do. And also a range of other services are available in terms of information on the Peterborough Information Network. In terms of communities who I've been liaising with, even before I became leader, I have been a friend to all communities within the city. We are blessed to have a very diverse city over here. And I'd like to be known as a friend to community. So whether that's been engaging with Black History Month, and I like to proudly say that all of my children's midwives were from the Windrush generation. And my daughter, who's now 19 and in university, even till this day, her midwife was called Grace. She was born on a Friday, and I always say, Friday's child is full of grace. So she was born on a Friday in Grace's hands. It was a Windrush generation midwife, and my daughter is full of grace. And I always think, fundamentally, she had a part to play in it. You know? So it's just the symbolism around them, the contribution that our communities have brought to this country and this city. We have a whole generation of Windrush midwives and nurses that I value so much. And, you know, I still send them Christmas cards.
Bless
and
you.
then show them how big and ugly the children have got, but putting their photographs. And it's just so heartening and lovely to be in touch that people from different communities, especially the black community, were there at my most time of need. When a mother's giving birth to a child, she's in the most pain.
Most vulnerable,
Very painful and most vulnerable. And all you need at that time are nurturing and a bit of comfort, and the husband's there, and sometimes you just sort of say, no, you got me in this position, I don't want to know. You need that maternal, you know, nurturing, and I got all that from all of my midwives for my children, and I will never forget that. So that's so valuable. So in terms of communities, the contribution that the Black community has paid to this city and to this country has been phenomenal. We've had a wonderful carnival, I think, procession.
Just recently,
And now we're in the middle of Black History Month, celebrating the contribution of our Black residents and their ancestors. And we've got such a wonderful centre, the Millennium Centre, where it's cheerful and chirpy, a lot of music, a lot of dancing, a lot of happiness, and bringing together just that contribution that the Black community has given to our city. And I'm so proud of you all. Honestly, I am.
Thank you.
It really is.
So speaking of communities, because obviously you're from the Asian community, we are from the African, though we come from different countries as well. We don't come from the same country. And I think some people, I think maybe because I'm more inclined to your country, people confuse me to be a Nigerian, which I'm not. But there is one thing that is common within probably us as Africans, whereby we don't talk about mental illness, we don't talk about depression, we don't talk about, you know, our insecurities as a community. Is that something that is also obvious in your side of the community? Because sometimes, we tend to wallow and think that we are the only people that go through these things.
Yeah.
But you'll be surprised once you sit on a table and you're looking at different people from other communities.
Yes, absolutely. You see it hugely prevalent within my community, which is the Asian community. It's considered a taboo subject, and it's considered a taboo subject more in men than women. And I think obviously, and I'm being here as an advocate of our men as well, that sometimes as women, yes, we do have our vulnerabilities. Yes, we are subjected to more statistics of domestic violence and abuse, etc.
Yeah.
That is true. Those statistics and that data are there. It's irrefutable. But when we talk about taboo, especially with reference to mental health, it is more taboo talking about mental health prevalence amongst men in our communities as compared to women. And I feel that stems from cultural perceptions that perhaps the alpha male figure who is, unbreakable, is the provider of the
head of the home,
and needs to be looked up to. And I think that really does make it difficult for men within our communities to show the vulnerable side of them when they're suffering from mental health. So the level of expectation is that they will get on with it, whereas actually that shouldn't be the case. So mental health, absolutely, is taboo. It's taboo within my community as well, more so in the men. So it's about breaking down those barriers and having more conversations and normalizing those conversations around mental health. So you've probably heard of the common statement that boys don't cry. And it is, what I say is to parents and mothers, allow your children to have the freedom of expression so that they can be confident in how they feel. It starts from a very young age.
Exactly.
If you start bringing them up to say that boys don't cry, what are you doing? Wrong. You need to sit them down and have a conversation about why they're feeling the way they're feeling, how it made them feel. And you have to use open language with children. So, for example, I can use my own example with my son. When he was little, he'd come back from school, didn't look his most brightest self. And I would sit him down and I would say, Abdullah, you look really sad today. What's happened? And he would tell me somebody said something mean to me. And then he'd burst into tears and I'd give him a big hug and I would say, how did that make you feel? Tell me how you feel. Did that make you feel sad? And giving children the opportunity and the space to express themselves in their own way with their truth makes them more resilient and stronger. Giving somebody the space to speak their truth and accept them for speaking their truth gives that person the safe space to be their authentic self, not to put a mask on, and not to be somebody that they're truly not. And that then forms the fabric of a strong, cohesive, stable society. So it starts from a very young age. So yes.
Councillor, bringing 3 parties together of the first ever coalition in Peterborough. How do you manage that? Because I can see that part of your skill is you are able to manage people very well, with at least, with what we've read and known about you. So how do you manage that? Because 3 parties coming together is not a joke. So how do you manage that, as a leader, as a woman?
I'm very lucky and fortunate that in our coalition and the councillors that I'm working with, we all have a shared vision. And that vision is Peterborough. And that we all care about the city. And putting that on the table when coming to those negotiations, which I must say were difficult because we have different political beliefs to each other. However, those differences in our political beliefs doesn't mean we can't get on with each other. So I can authentically express that, yes, I'm proud of being a Labour politician. And there are some things that my Liberal Democrat colleagues won't agree with in the Labour Party. And actually, some of my Peterborough First colleagues won't agree from the Labour Party, certain policies. But can we fundamentally get on and make things work in our city that actually won't jeopardise our party policies, by which we are affirmed to and we are dedicated to? The answer is yes. So what are the common things that actually we don't really need to worry about our sort of parties looking down upon us? All political parties want the best for their population. That's a common goal. Every party will sell you the fact that they can do it better than the other.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, that's how politics works.
Oh.
And it's just so happens that I like my party. I actually think that the Labour Party is the best for this city. And I will always fly the flag for them.
Of course.
Whereas my Liberal Democrat and Peterborough First counterpart will make their arguments for doing it. And I can look at them and say, well, we can agree to disagree. But also I think what we've learnt is the art of disagreeing well with each other. And the art of disagreeing well is a skill that not many people have. So I'm able to stand back and say, well, actually, I don't agree with you at all, but let's agree to disagree. And let's find something that we agree on. And what we agree on is Peterborough. And that is why it's known as a coalition of common purpose. Because our common purpose is this city.
Exactly.
So the growth and regeneration of this city.
Of course.
Some of the educational outcomes of this city. Adult social care. We want services to improve for our city. The station quarter, which is coming up. We all agree on that. So it's wonderful that we can invest all of our energy into some of those really key developments that are taking place here and make honest and reasonable arguments for them.
And with that in mind, what are the next big plans?
So the next big plans are that we've got a number of projects dotted up across the city. I'm incredibly excited about our swimming pool.
Oh, bless.
So you might not know the history. Two years ago, our regional pool was found to have something called RAC, which is bubbly concrete, which can render safety issues to the integrity of buildings. And obviously with safety issues, you can't have people in and around those buildings as well. So that was sadly demolished. And actually, the regional pool was an iconic figure because you had children that went and learned how to swim. They had women's sessions in there. I mean, I knew of patients that I used to see who'd go and swim in the women's sessions. So that when that was lost, automatically we were under-provisioned for swimming in this city, okay? Now, money is tight, as it always is in councils, but the need for a pool has been calling for a very long time because we are under-provisioned. We have a generation of children who don't know how to swim, which is one of the most important life skills. So I always say reading, writing, yes, is an important life skill, but so is swimming.
Skills,
Swimming is a life skill.
It is.
And it's very important. So we have had various business cases presented to us. And we've got a history in this city of having projects or promises that have been made in the past and not been delivered. I want to set the dial on making sure that however long I am in this seat, that we pledge something that is deliverable. And the great news is that our government, our Labour government, I'd say, has promised that they will give us funding for a pool. How much? We don't know. But our ask also has to be reasonable. So if I'm to say, right, we want a 50-metre Olympic-sized swimming pool with all the stripes and all the ribbons and everything, and go to government and say, oh, but it's going to cost £80 million or £57 million or £48 million, whatever. I don't think I'll be successful in my bid to gain that much money. So we have come up with a plan for a 25-metre pool, and it might not be Olympic grade or world class, but in that you have a fitness suite, in that you have space for community centres. You've got a learner pool alongside that.
Oh, great.
You've got space for 300 people in a spectator area that can watch swimming. And it's an indoor facility within the city centre. So we're finalising where the location for that could be. And what are the advantages? So let's talk about the advantages and let's not talk down some of the things that we're trying to do here. So the advantages are 25-meter pool. Your children from schools will start coming to learn to swim.
Yeah.
We need that.
Yeah.
We need that. Indeed, it can be used for our swimming team for practice sessions.
Yeah.
It might not be a 50-meter pool, but they can still use it in practice.
Yeah.
We have a whole population of people who have health needs. You have arthritis,
Yeah.
you have operations, you need mobility and joints, and water therapy is wonderful
Yeah.
when you have a look at those conditions. So meeting the needs of those populations are also
Yeah.
incredibly important too.
Yeah.
And more than that, you've got still a facility that is of a reasonable size where you can have a look at the potential for development around that area as well. So it will attract footfall. We've got a university next door
yeah.
who can use that facility too. So there are so many advantages. And I do see a lot of negativity saying, why didn't the council put forward a proposal for a 50-meter pool? I can very easily be the politician that you want me to be and deliver and say that, okay, I'm a great politician because I'm going to do what everybody's telling me to do and propose a 50-meter pool. And then down the road, when we don't get the funding for it because it is inaffordable, people will say that she made that promise.
She never kept
now
it.
she's gone.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to pledge something that I know I can deliver.
Yeah.
Exactly, which is very, very important.
Which is very key.
So that's one of the things.
Yeah.
And obviously, we've got a wonderful station quarter that the Department of Transport has now finalised and approved the business case for. So we will see spades in the ground. And won't that be wonderful? People coming to our city. We know that Peterborough is a major stopover.
Yeah.
It's on that
It
A1
is, yeah.
corridor. And people will stop over and come and want to visit our city when they see this beautiful development of a station quarter that it will attract visitors to the area. And isn't it just wonderful that we've now secured that business case?
So has that been finalised?
That has been finalised. So we're now ready to undertake those works. Spades in the ground. And those works hopefully should start commencing from November onwards.
And if you want, sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine.
If you weren't doing politics and, being the doctor that you are as well, what would Shabina be?
I would be a lady of leisure. Honestly, I would be a lady of leisure. I tell you, the time, if you do this job properly, the time that you invest away from your family, to give to public service entails a lot of time. So I know that people criticize politicians for being well off. Honestly, in terms of the pay, the job itself, if you do it properly, and like I said, if your inbox is full, that means you're doing something right because people are noticing you. And that's what takes up the majority of my hours. I have a family as well. And if I didn't want this job, I would most certainly live a beautiful, comfortable life. My husband's a surgeon. He earns well, but I just love public service. I love talking to people. I love mixing with people. I'm social by nature. So this is what wakes me and gets me out of bed, wakes me up in the morning and gets me out of bed. The fact that I've got a whole day full of speaking to people. And today, your lovely self. That's what drives me. So in answer to your question, if I wasn't, yes, I'd be sitting by some river in a restaurant, enjoying my life, playing tennis with the school mums sometimes, and having little coffee parties. But actually, I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing. And I admire those mums that actually look after their children and can go out and socialise. Why shouldn't they? It's a great thing. But my life choice has been to come away from looking after my social needs
to look
after the others.
Would you say that it was instilled by how you were brought up by your parents?
Totally, my mum. Oh my God. So this used to really get on my nerves when I was little. But if anybody used to visit our house, and I come from an Asian household, my mum would say to me, go and ask them, would they like some tea? Would they like to eat something? Would they like to do something? Go and speak to those children. Ask them what they're doing, where they go to school, how. And as I've grown up as well, even when I was a doctor, my mum will have a friend and she'll say, "Oh, sweetheart, I was just here out in the market buying vegetables. And my friend here, she's got something wrong with her ear. Can you tell? My daughter's a doctor, you know."
Yeah.
Or even going on a flight somewhere when I've been with my mum on holiday and they call the doctor, "My daughter's a doctor. You can go and ask her." So it's all her fault.
Yeah.
But I won't say it's fault. It's the way she's brought us up.
Yeah.
And she's been so selfless
Yeah.
her whole life. You know, I have been out countless times with my mum, and if my mum drives, if she has seen somebody on the side of a road, an elderly lady, she will stop the car and she will say, "Oh, Shabina, go out and help that woman across the road. She's got a trolley full of shopping with her. Make sure that she crosses the road properly."
Yeah.
You know, and I will say, and it sounds soppy, I love my mum because she's got such a beautiful heart. And she's always said, you can kill anyone with kindness. You can win over anyone with kindness.
Yeah.
And that has been her motto throughout her life. So, yeah, I have been quoting my mum quite a lot because I've met lots of children and I've met lots of parents. And one of the things that she used to do, and my mum and dad used to do both, was when they set us up for the school day, they would always hug us, kiss us, and say, "Have a really good day." You know, look in the eye, and look me in the eye. "Have a really good day, okay? And make sure that you're happy and you're content. Enjoy time with your friends and work hard as well. We want you to work hard."
Of course.
You know, all of those things.
That was a
mum and dad
family
think.
full of love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think that sometimes we do miss out on.
Yeah.
Because,
Speaking about mom, because you know, there are a lot of mom out there raising kids, you know, home front and a lot of things, and yet, because we normally really discuss it on this conversation on the couch about you want to juggle being a mom and you still want to work. Look at you are a doctor, yet you've raised amazing kids and you are still a wife. How were you able to still, and now you are fulfilling your dream, which is very, very beautiful. But you need to, what I'm thinking is that there are some mom out there too that really wants to do this. They are raising their children and yet the home front is still there. They really want to fulfill their dream. You have one or two advice to give them on, you know,
Absolutely.
how to go about it.
So all of you have your own circumstances, don't you? I guess the thing that has made me able to fulfill my dream is my husband has been very supportive. And also from the cultural background that I come from, he's been very liberal in terms of saying, "You've got wings, Shabina, go and fly." That's how he's been. But actually it works two ways. It hasn't always been easy. Sometimes I will have very busy weeks, you know?
Yeah.
And I see that he works so hard as well. And sometimes will help with meals, etc. I tend to do all my own cooking. I do batch cooking at the weekend. I love cooking for my kids because they love mum's food. I love my mother's food, you know? But my advice is that if you envisage coming into politics, sit down and have a conversation with your spouse first of all, because it can definitely be demanding on your time, and your spouse or your partner needs to know your schedule for the day. You need to know theirs. You need to know who's going to be available around the children and when. So you need a level of meticulous organization, because the role, especially now that I'm leader, is incredibly one that is demanding on my time. So my husband knows what appointments I'm having, what time I'm expected to finish for the day, so that we can plan, hopefully, that we eat together in the evening, because those conversations around the table are really important. And if we can't have it, and if he hasn't eaten all day and he's hungry, we've got that shared understanding that you eat. When I come home, we'll sit together and I'll eat, and I can hear you talk to me whilst I'm eating my food. You know, so it's give and take. It certainly is. But to those mums who aspire to do it, also look at the age of your children. When my children were a little bit more grown up, a bit more sufficient, didn't have to rely on childcare, I felt it was a lot more easier. I'm not going to say that you should rule it out if you have young children. Maybe you've got support. Make sure that you have support. Make sure if you want to come into the political arena that the parties that you align to have provision for childcare. In the Labour Party, certainly some of our meetings, our CLP meetings, there are young mums that have come and have asked for provision of childcare, and good on them to do so.
Yeah.
And often the party has done so, you know. So it's very important to keep those things under consideration, and also to come into those spaces or meetings where children are also welcomed, especially if you're a young mother.
Yeah.
So if you go into an area where people will say, or parties say, you can't bring your children into this party,
Oh, of course.
then it becomes very difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, in the Labour Party, when I've gone on conference, there are lots of people I've seen bring their little children with them,
Oh.
and they have been, those children have been so well behaved.
Oh.
They've been great. And I'd like to quote our General Secretary, Holly Ridley, actually. She's got a lovely, lovely daughter, Violet, who is so wonderful. And she's got such, and it's great. The General Secretary of the Labour Party is a woman. And she's like the girl next door. She's so pleasant, and her daughter as well. So that's something I'm incredibly proud of. And those women are my inspiration.
Oh, great.
So you can't, it's important not to rule it out, but have a discussion with your family first to see if this is something that they are willing to support.
Yeah.
Because it can be difficult when your family doesn't support you. So it always starts from home.
It does.
So people like myself and Holly have great family support around us. And that's why we're able to do what we do. So yeah, that's the
So
advice.
support is very, very important
very
when it
vital.
comes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And find your tribe. So when you go into party politics, not everybody's built for it. There's a lot of hostility around it.
I can imagine.
You know? And actually, it's not a bed of roses.
Of course.
But what I've found is that your default position should be, and how this is how I see it, and other people might not see it that way, and it's fine. Other people can have their own ways. But actually, you just need two friends beside you, two friends who you trust, that in your low times, you can fall back upon them.
Yeah. Aside your spouse.
Yes.
And are those
friends in
within your
politics.
political party?
Political
Okay,
party.
political
In your
party.
political
Oh,
party.
yeah.
And actually, when times are good and worth celebrating, you can all celebrate together.
Yeah.
So sometimes I've always gone to the three friend position, whereby you've got those two friends who can be your shoulders, that in low times you can pick up the phone to them and just offload. And then in times of celebration, you can lift each other up.
But is it not a very lonely place, though, where you feel that sometimes everyone is out to get you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All the time.
What step am I not supposed to take in case it lands me into trouble? What do I say?
Yeah.
When do I say what I say? When am I going to be misconstrued? When is my past going to be dug up? When,
We're always at risk of that. And I can tell you one thing. Everybody has a past.
Yeah.
Everybody has. We're all human beings, right? But actually, when you're in public service, and once you commence this role, it is so important to be open, transparent, be mindful of people that you're having conversations with. It's very important, because everything that you do and that you own becomes the property of the public.
Of course.
Your personal space becomes the property of the public. You have a register of interest when you're in council. People know what you own, how you work, what your income is, everything. So it's very important. And that's why they call it public service. You are literally public property.
Yeah.
And my advice is, don't ever say anything behind closed doors that you wouldn't say out in the open. All right. So that's why it's important to be authentic.
Of course.
Important to operate from a place of kindness.
Yeah.
And actually, just be mindful of how you operate on social media as well, and how you operate behind closed doors too, on conversations on WhatsApp chats. Yeah, and we've all been, to be honest with you, we've all been caught by the wayside in terms of how we operate on social media. Let's be honest, social media has only really taken ground since the millennium. Its advent during the millennium was more, let's say, has been propagated a lot more. There has been this sort of burst and boost of social media activity. News now is more readily available, News propagates more easily because of social media. That is the platforms that we use now. It's not just television. And it becomes more readily available. So having to compete with that in this era, being in public service, also has its challenges too. So it's very important that we are mindful of our language, mindful of how we conduct ourselves with others too, and be your authentic self. And make sure that you are operating within sort of standards of good behavior and good practice. And that should be our default position. We are more responsible in public service, and we have to exude ourselves as the best possible example of behavior. Because the public look up to us. They have that expectation of us.
There is that
And that's towards other politicians as well.
Of course.
So, yes. And you see us sometimes having skirmishes with each other. But actually, from my perspective, it's more of a fact-finding and validating perspective on the basis of evidence. So if I'm accused of something that I haven't done, I will take the evidence out and say, well, actually, no, that is the wrong thing to say. And I'm here to correct it. So I won't take it sitting back either.
So get to know your leader. Let us know you a little bit more.
Exactly, because you are beautiful. We need to know your routine. You are relaxed, you're accessible to people, you are smiling, you want to listen to everyone. So you must have a routine you use that makes you feel just relaxed. I know you have great support system, which is good, but
my routine, which is relaxed. Okay, that's really important to me. So over the last 3 weeks since I've assumed this position, I have been rather sleep deprived, I'll be honest with you. But that's just, it's not that it just comes with the job. It's just, but I've been playing a lot of catch up. I think now we're seeing the end of that catch up. So now weekends largely are for my family. I have a few commitments in terms of events to attend, but weekends are for my family. Okay. And I like to make that categorically clear. So how I do it is I try where possible to have a automated response on my phone, which I will also put on my email as well. If anybody messages me, apart from my family, then they will get an automatic message to say, this is my weekend, this is my time with family, and I will respond to you within office hours. That's the first thing. Obviously, unless it's an emergency. Sometimes, you need to be there. Other than that, I also am very conscious of what I eat. I think that's really important. So I try and eat, I try and eat healthy as much as possible. I keep hydrated. I think that's really important. Keeping hydrated keeps up your energy levels. So the whole aspect around health again. Mindfulness is very important to me. So I do sessions of mindfulness just 10 minutes before I go to sleep. And that's important simply because of the fact that when you set your level of breathing, it decreases the amount of cortisol that spikes during stressful situations, and it just keeps you level-headed. Don't get me wrong, I do get stressed, okay? But actually,
you try to keep it in check.
So I do all of that as well. And I always, before I go to bed, make sure I have a nice shower. It relaxes you. And have a nice warm drink before I go to bed. I think that's important too. And yes, I look after my skin.
So what would you tell your young self? Like, you've achieved a lot. You're fine. What would you tell your young self? Like,
So in terms of, when I was little, I remember looking out of the window in a council flat and saying, is there a world out there for someone like me? So if I were to turn around and look at that young self, I would say, yes, there is. Absolutely, there is.
That's really nice. We cannot tell you how honored we are to have you here with us. It's not going to be the last time.
Of course.
And, who are we that we've got to have a chance to sit with the leader
of my community, Peterborough.
Of the Peterborough Council. So we are honored. We are grateful.
So am I.
And do remember to click the subscribe button.
Yes,
and I think you've mentioned some of those community initiatives, and there are links which I'll also put down in the descriptions that people are mindful to go out and check on them.
To access all those information.
Access them. And
our counselor is accessible too. She is accessible.
She is such a very humble soul. Our regards to your family. To your children and to your spouse and
and your team.
And your team as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The force behind the force behind you. And hopefully in the next election we'll be voting Labour.
I hope so. Yes. I will always say, look, vote Labour. You know, we are the party that want to do right. We've only been elected for the last, we're coming up to now 2 years.
Oh.
And I think within that 2 years, we have put in an awful lot of funding into our communities and looked after young people, you know, and always remember your children, they are the future.
They are.
Yeah, so we're looking after, we are a party that is looking
the next
after
generation.
our young ones.
They definitely are. It's been Rachel and Toby and Councillor Dr Shabina Qayyum. I hope I've done it justice this time.
That's all right.
On Conversations on the Couch.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.